Hey, it's me, and today we're going to cook something from the pantry. This is a rib roast that I had canned back in January of 2023, and we're gonna open it up today and use it for dinner. It looks real good. I actually cut this in larger pieces and cooked it almost all the way through before I canned it, and then canned it with either broth or water. I can't recall at this point. As you can see, we've got a bit of fat that's settled on the top. I know some people prefer to take that off. I'll see. I'm not quite sure myself what I'm going to do with that yet. Might just take it off and set it to the side for now. As you can see, I've got a little reminder sign. Looks like it's getting a little bit of food thrown up on it, but this is just for anybody who's using any of the canned goods that are downstairs if I'm not around, just to boil it for 25 minutes without tasting it. The reason for that is just to eliminate any possibility of botulism. I think you only have to boil it for 5 minutes, but I go the extra mile because I am not taking any chances. Canning food is very safe. You just need to know what you're doing, and you need to know the rules about canning. There are some real hard and fast ones as far as the temperatures to can if you're using a pressure canner, and what pressure that you need to can at, how long you can, and that will vary from meats to vegetables to fruits. You have to look these things up. And you can always choose to water bath. That's always a possibility. Canning is ages old and is done in cultures throughout the world. So it's not dangerous. Believe me, I'm risk averse. I wouldn't do it if it was dangerous. Canning meats has been done throughout the ages. In fact, your grandmother or your great grandmother has probably canned meat and knew how to put up things for the winter, like their meats, their vegetables, and fruits. This is something that we've lost over the generations. We've lost the ability to take care of ourselves. So now it's time to reclaim it, tiny farmers. We are going to learn. One of the best things you can do is buy a ball canning book. You can get that from any bookstore or online bookstore. That will guide you with the right principles in canning. It's not dangerous, but you have to know what you're doing. So if possible, try to open this so that you can save this canning rim, because sometimes you can't find them. They are expensive if you have to keep buying them instead of reusing the lid. And the other point of it is that they can be reused quite successfully, although Belle will say do not do that. Only canning rebels go about this. So I am a bit of a canning rebel, so I'm not advising you to do it. I'm just saying what I do. And so uh, just to show you, this has been well canned. You can lift it up. The lid doesn't come off. I can't even pry this off with my hands. If I push down on this, it's solid. This has already been processed. There's no air that has gotten in here. On inspection, there is no mold or any other kind of weird growths in here. So I'm good to go that way. And now I'm ready. I'm just going to pry up just a little bit, let some air in here. There we go. Haha. So yes, I might use that again. But that's just me. Next, you're going to want to have a smell of this too, because you're going to want to make sure it doesn't smell off. So, nope, it smells like canned meat, which is, well, buy a can of canned meat from the store and you'll find out. Canned meat has this particular smell and texture and flavor to it. It doesn't taste like the meat that would come out of the oven. It does have its own flavor. So I'm going to be honest with you. Some people do not like canned meat, and that's okay. But I find that when you're using it with sauces, you can't tell the difference. Your hamburger has actually a softer texture, which I prefer. Um, and the meats, they can generally be a lot more tender. But some people don't like it. So I wouldn't go nuts. I would say if you're going to can some meat, just can one canning cycle. It's usually around 7 jars. Um, and use the pints and just try it, because there's no point in getting heavily invested in something that you are not really going to want to eat. But the other thing is, if this is all that's left for any reason, any kind of calamity, you'll eat it, and it's safely stored, and it will be safe for years. So just some things to think about, and you decide. So I've taken out most of the fat, and not for any particular reason other than, probably don't need that extra fat, Jack. So besides that, I left the original broth in with the meat, and then I poured in enough just to cover the meat. And I'm going to put a lid on this and let this simmer for my 25 minutes. I'm not even doing anything else with it. This is just this just makes me feel good. As far as boiling meat or boiling any of your canned goods, before you eat anything, that's good practice. It just makes sure that you don't have any botulism that may occur in poorly canned meats now, or vegetables, or anything else that's got low acid in it. Now, I know that this was properly canned. That still doesn't stop me from wanting to go ahead and make sure that this is absolutely safe to eat. So I will be right back after it's done its boil. Let's see, how did that turn out? All right, so now I've added some carrots, some onion, and some Brussels sprouts, all of which were hanging around in my fridge, and I am trying to waste absolutely nothing. It's a little harder than I thought when I started out on this little expedition, but it is being done, as you can see. Now, one of the reasons too that I wanted to boil this a little extra longer than the government guidelines is just because I actually didn't, I was being a bit of a canning rebel, and I didn't slice these 1 inch by 1 inch square. They're more slices, and they're not even an inch thick. That being said, I just want to err on the side of safety, so yeah, I'm just going to boil this a little bit longer now, and we're going to saute the rest of these vegetables, and I'm going to add some mushrooms, and maybe I've got some gravy from last night that's going to go in here as well. So the point of this is to reuse what you have. I've taken some meat that I've canned, and I am now going to find what I can out of the fridge that's been, in there for a couple of days that needs to be reused. Otherwise, it'll end up in the garbage, and that's where I have guiltily, had to throw some stuff out in the past because I don't use it fast enough. Now I'm really taking more of a rigorous effort to plan my meals, and that's why I'm having the canned meat tonight. I just didn't feel like having a larger meal. The canned meat, actually, I did take more than I would have if I wasn't doing this video. I probably would have just used half the jar, but at any rate, it'll be fine. We just will eat it again tomorrow. But there's a variety of ways that this can be served. It can be served over potatoes. I'm actually going to have some zucchini sliced into noodles, and my husband's going to have some mashed potatoes. So you could have it with rice, and you could have it over a piece of toast. There are so many ways that you can cook anything, and variety is the spice of life. So give it a whirl. You don't have to stay with the staid and true meat and potatoes. You can venture off the beaten path. And there you have it. So there's the meal with the potatoes, and there's my meal with the zucchini noodles. Bon appetit!